Although it may seem like corporate scandal is the new catchphrase, when you look at the big picture, this isn't the first time corporate America has been in the hot seat. Some well-known companies have met their demise after scandal, and others have lived to tell about it. Joining me now from Washington to tell us about the business of scandals of the past is Bruce Weindruch, CEO of the History Factory. Bruce, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Ali.
Bruce, where do you want to start? Where do we go back in terms when we're looking at scandals?
Well, you know, we were talking about, you've been talking about this whole notion of fraud and insider trading, and basically history books are written about insider trading, some of the greatest fortunes ever. We love to talk about the Rothschild family, who used carrier pigeons to learn about Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo and be able to trade on that. Samuel Cunard, who built the great shipping magnate, used to sit with a spyglass up on a hill, and he was able to see the ships coming into the ports from Staten Island, and he would then speculate in those commodities. During the 1930s, of course, after the stock market crash, there were the Pecora Committee identified all of the insider trading that led to it. So it goes all the way back, but it's taken a long, long time for the SEC and for the laws to catch up with this.
So the laws have been on the books, you say, since about the 1930s. Why has this become prevalent? We heard about it a lot in the 80s. And then again now, what was happening in the interim period?
Well, you know, it's the technology, stupid, would be the best answer to the whole thing. I mean, if you really think about it, between 1949 and 1985, there were only 132 cases of insider traders documented. But with the ability to track those market shifts, and also a shift in the economy, so many people involved in individual investors, they've been able to track it so that you had 50-some cases of insider trading in a 4-year period between 81 and 85. They're able now to have surveillance, which they didn't have in those days.
One of the things that's going on right now is the idea of how do you prosecute this, how successfully can insider trading be prosecuted. Give us a sense of some of the landmark cases in the prosecution of insider trading.
Well, you know, these only go back a few years, Alan, into the mid-1960s. There was a famous one you've never heard of, Texas Gulf Sulfur, where a group of executives traded in the stock when they knew that there was an ore discovery. That's only in 1965. 1970, a guy named Vincent Chiarella, who worked in a financial printing firm, was able to kind of discern from whose printing materials he was working on, prospectuses. He found takeover targets. It ended all the way up to the Supreme Court in 1980, and they overturned it, saying that he really had no fiduciary responsibility to keep that. That's where the real teeth started then to come in. And into that early 1980s period, they started giving them the laws to be able to have some teeth to be able to prosecute it and make it a criminal offense.
Bruce, one of the interesting things here, especially since Martha Stewart has been introduced into this mix, and she's been charged with nothing, we have to keep that in mind, but she's so closely tied to her company and her brand, and this is unusual even in corporate America.
Yeah, it is. But basically what happens here is, of course, we have a very, very short memory. We can go back and you've forgotten all the names. I mean, how many people still talk about Foster Winnan, who worked for the Wall Street Journal? He wrote the market column. He was indicted for insider trading. What happens over a period of time is people tend to forget these things. Johnny Carson in 1980, although he himself didn't trade, some people traded on some information that he was going to get involved in a casino hotel with the National Kinney Company, some lawyers and people who worked in gyms with one of his wives. But the fact is, who remembers that today? So Martha Stewart's got time on her side.
All right, Bruce Weindruch, it's always great to have you here. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Alan.
Bruce Weindruch is the CEO of the History Factory, joining me from D.C.